Hello, my name is Tony, and I've been playing guitar for roughly 7.5 years. I played right-hand guitar for about 2.5 years, and everything was going along smoothly. I was making very fast progress. Then, about 2.5 years into playing right-handed, my left hand on the fretboard started feeling strange. It just didn't feel like a normal hand would on the fretboard. So I made an appointment with my neurologist, and he told me what I had was known as focal dystonia. And I asked him, what is focal dystonia? He said it's a repetitive stress injury, and he said it's also learned. He said if you do some type of movement all the time, over and over and over, and you don't stop and take a break, or your hands are tense while you're doing this and stuff like this, that you're retraining your brain to think differently. It's not mapped correctly like it should be. So when you ask, well, not ask, but you want to command, let's say your finger to move, let's say your pinky finger on this hand or your first finger on this hand, they move. Just like my right hand, they move as well too. But focal dystonia, you really don't have fine motor control movements with your hands. So I asked, is this some type of disease or anything? He said it was not a disease. It's just a condition that some people get from neuroplasticity in their brains. He said that you also can get rid of it, but you have to find somebody who is able to retrain you to get rid of it. So that's where my journey began with focal dystonia. But before I got there, continued playing guitar, I felt a little down and stuff and thought about giving up guitar, but something told me to turn the guitar over and play left-handed instead of playing right-handed. So I played left-handed guitar for about 4 years, and I was making progress, really good progress again, practicing a lot. My right hand was moving well and everything, but my left-hand picking hand, it just always felt strange. It was the focal dystonia. So I thought to myself that this is probably not going to go away the way the picking feels until this hand gets healed. So I talked to several people at the music department, and they told me that there's a guy named Gerald Harsher who's a body mapping coach. And I asked them, what is body mapping? And they told me that body mapping is rewiring the brain to your specific hand or arm or whatever. And so what has happened is that through the repetitive motion, that the signals in my brain got jumbled. So when you ask for fine finger movements, to move, it just doesn't do it. It feels like a lobster claw. You really don't know what it is until you actually, you feel what it is. So if your hand does not feel right when you move it, I would suggest that you go see a neurologist to take a look at your hand, so make sure there's nothing wrong with your hand. Also, I would also recommend that before getting body mapping, you should see a neurologist anyway to see if your hand is capable of being able to, there's no injury to your hand where you can't move your fingers and stuff. If you do move your fingers, you're not going to injure them further before you start body mapping. But anyway, I got in touch with Gerald Harsher, and we talked for quite a while about this focal dystonia stuff in my left hand. And I told him that I wanted to continue to playing left hand too, and right hand, because I spent 4 years playing guitar left hand, and I have left hand guitars. And I said I want to go back to playing right-handed guitar also, because I spent a lot of time a lot of money on right-hand guitars and right-hand guitars, left-hand guitars. If you're a guitar aficionado like me, want to buy everything out there, for a guitar. So I end up getting a lot of guitars and amplifiers and stuff like that. But onto the focal dystonia, Gerald Harsher, he has taught me to remap my hand to my brain. So my fingers and everything move freely in my left hand. So I used to take Botox injections. The last one I had was June of last year. I have not had a Botox injection into my arm at all, or my fingers at all. And my medication, oral medication that I was taking, has been cut in half. And my fingers move freely. And all thanks to Gerald Harsher. He shows you how to play better through different exercises and things to get your hands moving properly again. And he's mapping your hand to your brain. And once you get that, done, then you can start playing, slowly start playing. You don't want to get out there and, just start hammering away, because if you do, bad techniques can come back in again. And once again, the bad techniques that you were employing before with the repetition cause a focal dystonia. Basically, it's just stress movement. So if your hand is balled like this, like a tight fist or something, and you continue to punch something with your hand like a tight fist, and you do that over and over and over and over and over, let's say you did it 1,000,000 times or even 1,000 times. It just depends on your brain may interpret that as soon as you ball your fist up, the hand or arm, should go out, because the signals get jumbled in your brain. So you should really do things in segments. So if you're working on something, a passage or something, just work on that passage for a few minutes instead of, like I did, work on a certain passage for maybe an hour and work through stress also. So if there was stress going on in my hand, I would continue to play, not knowing that I need to stop and just let my hand go free. Not per se relaxed, just free. So the fingers move freely. Because relax and freely are two different things. And when you play guitar, you want your hands and arms and everything to move freely. So, you freely just move around. There's nothing stopping you. Like moving here, like I'm moving now. This is just free moving. There's no tension or anything. And you start learning things about yourself also when you learning the body map. You learn some things called kinesthetics, where you learn more about your body and how to keep the tension out of your body so you won't get this repetitive stress injury like I did. But before, like I said before, I was making really fast progress. And when the National Guitar Workshop was around, I got 2 full-ride scholarships to go there. And I went, but the second time I went, my left hand just did not feel really strong on the neck of the guitar. And had focal dystonia. So, like I said, I got in touch with Gerald Harsher, and he's been working with me for roughly about seven months now, and I did a couple little snippets of little sound surfs from certain songs, maybe about 5 seconds, maybe 7 seconds of the songs, just to see if I can still play those types of songs or something like that. And But it's been a long journey, but I also put in there the before and after also, and you can see the difference in the way my hands are, how they move on the neck of the guitar. You can see in the beginning when I started, going back to playing right hand, that this hand sometimes didn't want to cooperate with me, and then I had to stop and regroup. Now, after 7 months, I don't have to stop, and I can actually play these pieces. They're not to my standards that I would like them to be at just yet, but it tells me that Gerald Harsher's work is working, and that I am getting better and better and better as time goes on. Because when I first started, I was not able to do those little excerpts from those little songs or snippets, whatever you want to call them. And so, if you want to learn about this body mapping, look up the Poised Guitarist. It's thepoisedguitarist.com, and his name is Gerald Harsher. And he's a classic trained guitarist. He helps you remap your hands and stuff, to your brain again, and that's what he does, and it actually works. And there's no drugs involved, where you have to take this or take that, to get your hands moving, or trumpet players sometimes they get, I don't know the name of it, but their lip may start doing strange things on them, and they can't play a certain piece. Or a saxophonist, their fingers don't move properly while they're playing the piece, or again their mouth might not move right. The same thing with the person who plays flute or violin or any type of instrument. This condition can happen. It can even happen if you don't play an instrument. You could be working on an assembly line. If you do a repetitive motion over and over, and there's stress involved, then you're just retraining your brain to continue to do things certain ways that you don't want them to do that. You want to be able to move freely. You want your hand and everything just to move like it should move naturally. Something, a weird movement, if you play some really, let's say like this, is not a natural hand position. And if you did this 1,000 times, your hand will most likely, every time you lift your hand up, it's probably going to stay like that until you turn it around, but it probably will have a tendency, again, just to turn around back like that. So, what you need, if something like that happens to you, which I doubt it would happen because you wouldn't do that, but anyway, you need to have your body mapped, retuned again. And Gerald Harsher is the person to do that. And again, thanks for listening to me and my story. And just listen to the little bit of these little excerpts that I did, or snippets, whatever you want to call them, from these songs, and you'll see the difference from one song, in the beginning, to where I'm at now. And hopefully in 1.5 to 2 years, I should be rid of this vocal dystonia, because it's not a disease. So, talk to you later.